people survived slavery. I do remember, that's why I believe. I don't know how the rivers overflow the bends. I don't know how the snow falls and covers the ground. I don't know how the hurricane sweeps through the land every now and then. Standing here, the rainstorm, I believe. Hey, hater, my lady, hater, hater, my maid. Hater, my lady, hater, hater, maid. Hater, my lady, hater, hater, maid. Hater, my lady, hater, hater, I don't know how the angels woke me up this morning. I don't know how the blood still runs through my veins. I don't know how I rate to run another day. Standing here, the rainstorm, I believe. Oh, hater, my lady, hater, hater, my maid. Oh, hater, my lady, hater, hater, maid. My God, He called me in the morning dew. The power of the universe, it knows my name, and it gave me the song to sing. Then send me away. So I raise my voice for justice. I believe. Yeah, my lady, hater, hater, my maid. Yeah, my lady, hater, hater, my lady. Oh, hater, my lady, hater, my lady, hater.
That's Brenda Mtambo, I believe. 14 minutes after 1, Bertha Charuma standing in for Bridget. Welcome to the Full Circle, expecting to spending some quality time and interesting conversations, leading the conversation right here on SAFM. And we are starting off with 16 days of activism. How we talk to young boys is key to curbing the gender-based violence scourge in South Africa. And of course, around about 1:30, we speak to Emngeni Etukela Water, and we'll be chatting to Advocate Vusi Kuzwayo, who is the chairperson of the Umgeni Utukela board. And also coming up on the show, around 20 to 2 symposium for black and women-owned businesses during SMME month. And they do have some good news. If you're a small business, this is a segment where you don't want to miss. Talking to Dorcas Onyango, Global Director of Programs at Shared Interest. Also coming up on the show, just on the other side of 2:00, imposter syndrome, how to stop it from derailing your career and life satisfaction. Chatting to Dr. Linda Mayer, Managing Director of the Independent Institute of Education in Rosebank. That's Rosebank College. And it happens to the best of us. You could have a PhD, you could have a master's, and you think you've got all your ducks in a row, but for some strange reason, you just have this insecurity that keeps on niggling you and you can't get forward. So we'll be chatting about that and getting to unpack all the good stuff where you can then maximize whatever it is that you've studied or qualifications that you have. Also coming up around about 2:30, the Food, Arts and Crafts Lifestyle Market, a platform for shopping and entrepreneurship. Wongakazi Majola will be joining us, founder Impactful Initiatives, to unpack quite a bit. And of course, Aldrin Sambia will come into the show and unpack what's coming up in the show in his drive show later on. And also preparing for workplace success with micro-credentials. That's coming up around about 2:45, and talking to Dr. Jolanda Merkel, Head of Instructional Design at Stadio. Let's take a small detour. We'll be back.
Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
And starting off with 16 days of activism, and of course, to bend the stick, you need to do it when it is still wet. How we talk to young boys is key to curbing the gender-based violence scourge in South Africa. How then do we do that? It's quite a complicated situation because, children are quite interesting. It's a situation where monkey see, monkey do. You know how kids just they imitate whatever you do. So in this instance, we are going to find out from Dr. Ntombi Fikile Mchali, CEO of Shout It Out Now, what exactly they've been doing and what messages they've been trying to send across so that we understand and we stop gender-based violence. Dr. Ntombi Fikile Mchali, good afternoon and welcome to the Full Circle.
Good afternoon, Bertha. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. So we know that young children learn by imitating the behaviors of us adults and us around the children. And while this is perfectly, acceptable when it applies to respectable traits, good habits that form foundation of being a responsible citizen, it is also, our behaviors, those unsavory behaviors that we present in front of our children that also can negatively impact our children. I know that 16 days of activism is really in the spotlight, and from where you are sitting, what has been the major message, especially this year?
Thanks, Bertha. I think let me start with introducing Shout It Now so that you understand how this overlays with my own personal and professional experience. So Shout It Now is a local NGO, South African NGO, focusing on youth services as it relates to sexual and reproductive health and rights. Primarily focuses around HIV and GBV prevention. So what we've done at Shout It Now is create a GBV support chat box that we call Chomi, that allows individuals to navigate it safely, anonymously, etc., etc. Access to support information, and also we can be able to refer them in where they may not be able to reach our social workers. But to what you've said, in my my personal circumstance is that I'm a mother to two boys, and I look at around the conversations that we're having around GBV, how it's always more on the survivors and the victims, etc., etc. And my question has been, as a mother of boys, particularly knowing what you've just said about young people or children being exposed to certain, they emulate behaviors that they see, they absorb whatever is happening in their environment, is to how do I talk to my boys so that they do not end up being the perpetrators, because we know that the perpetrators are largely men. And so how do we make sure that the boys are geared? And so it's around having open conversations and creating spaces for those dialogues, but also talking about gender stereotypes, gender norms that are prevailing in society, talking about masculinity. What does it mean? How do we express it? What does it mean in a healthy way? So the conversations, I know that there's a men's conference that's currently taking place, and it's talking about how do we build positive masculinity. And intrinsic to that is understanding that boys, men, young men, they are human, and they are entitled to full human emotions, fear, anger, cry. If you're stressed, you can cry. You can display those emotions. And for me, it has been about telling my boys that it's okay to express their emotions. Let's navigate. Why do they have these emotions? What is happening? And going deeper, being really conscious about that. So that's why this work resonates with me so much, because I really think I can play a role in shaping, in my own home.
Yeah. Doc, we're just going to take a small commercial break. We'll be back and we continue with our conversation.
Open the Absa Cash Invest Tracker account and earn the best rates in the market. More than the top 10 money market funds' average returns. Enjoy unmatched advantages at an interest rate of 8.9% per annum. Plus, if you open your account today, you could win your share of 15 million rand in luxury travel experiences for two. Yes, you heard right. A trip for you and your partner. My Bank does that. Open yours today in less than 5 minutes on the banking app, at your nearest Absa branch, or consult your private banker or call 0860 111 515. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Manene namanenekazi.
Dove is not just gentle and moisturizing.
It took great care of the nation
During the Rugby World Cup France 2023. Dove rocks, just like the box.
Danko Unilever for your remarkable contribution to the momentous journey of global heroes.
Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Don't miss out on the SAFM Playwriting Competition. To enter, visit safm.co.za. From the menu icon, select Competitions. Click on the SAFM Drama Playwriting Competition. Read the T's and C's of the competition. Check out the competition's Q&A. Fill in the entry form by clicking the link provided. Email your script to drama@safm.co.za. For further information, email drama@safm.co.za. Entries close on the 22nd of January 2024. SAFM, leading the conversation. You are listening to The Full Circle.
And it's Bertha Charuma standing in for Bridget. And I'm talking to Dr. Mchali, and she is the Chief Executive Officer of Shout It Out Now, a South African NPC that delivers youth-friendly, community-based HIV prevention, sexual reproductive health and related services in Gauteng and Northwest provinces. And of course, in her role as CEO and as a strong advocate for women and reproductive health rights, Dr. Mchali leads the organization to continue its modern delivery of HIV and gender-based violence prevention services. Dr. Mchali, welcome back. Just before we took the break, you were explaining and how you relate to your boys, and it just makes me wonder how we kind of like have lost navigation, because we are brought up as, especially from an African perspective, that men are meant to protect. And for some strange reason, that is just not the narrative. Where did we lose the plot?
I think also I want to have a conversation around that, but because men are meant to protect, but also men need to be protected as well. Protected from the pressures that they might feel that, for example, they're not able to express themselves fully and in the full range of their emotions. Giving them that space that it's okay for them to be vulnerable, it's okay for them to be emotional, but they must, in all their emotion, they must display it and navigate it in a safe area, in a safe environment. So when we do that, I think when we have that collective responsibility towards each other to protect each other, we empower men to also be able to do that. And I really think that's where we have to create those messaging about the boys and the boy child around what is it that is good behavior? What does that look like? So what does protection look like? Why are we protecting? Because that's another thing. We talk about men are supposed to protect. Protect against what? Protect against other men. That's also the problem. So they need to be thinking around what is it that is in our behaviors that makes us have to have our back up and not have, and because I think men do it very well, but for their immediate, like their mothers, their sisters, etc., they know that role, they understand it. However, when it comes to intimate partners or other women in society, they treat them slightly differently. And the question is, what is it that makes them do that separation? And that's what's important. And those are the conversations that I think we should be having. And I think men should also be having with each other and also with younger boys as well.
Absolutely. The lines are open for conversation. 086 000 2032. That's 086 000 2032. Or you can use our voice note WhatsApp line. If you'd like to drop us a note, and it would be preferable if you keep it to 1 minute. And when you pre-record your message, make sure that the background is clean so that it's audible. 0614 104 107. That's 0614 104 107. And I'm speaking to Dr. Mchali. 16 days of activism, how we talk to young boys actually makes a difference in the narrative going forward. And this conversation, we've had it for so many years. And maybe I should be asking, I don't know whether, Dr. Mchali, you do have stats at hand. Are we improving, or are we not improving at all in terms of making sure, we are in the right direction?
Sadly, but improving. I don't have the statistics over time. I know that 1 in 3 women experience gender-based violence. 1 in 5 women experience gender-based violence by an intimate partner. So those are the statistics that we have, and it is at epidemic proportions, and we really are having a crisis. I think the campaign around 16 days of activism is important because it brings awareness, and shines a spotlight on issues that we need to be dealing with. Also mindful that this is 16 days of us focusing on gender-based violence and an issue that takes place daily. So 365 days in a year. I think we really need to continue having the campaigns in terms of raising awareness, having the conversations around how do we stop it. Really happy to start seeing men through these men's conferences coming up and having these conversations, because we also know that men don't listen to women all the time. They listen to other men. So it's important for them to have those dialogues. I think also what's important...
No, go ahead.
No, I think what's important is that we continue to raise this as an awareness, as a daily, because it's not a once-off event or once-off activity that we need to be thinking about only on these 16 days of this year.
And in wrapping up, where can we find more information?
You can find more information. So for our gender-based violence GBV chatbot, it's the Chomi. The number is 082-229-6251. This is a multilingual chatbot.
It looks like I've lost.
You're literally talking to a friend.
There you are. Yes, you're back.
Did you lose me?
Yes, I lost you for a second.
Okay, no, I don't know if you caught the number at least. 0822296251. It's our safe anonymous chatbot that people can be able to go into, navigate information, they can have access to services, and we can also see how we can best support in terms of referral in the different support areas that they may need.
Dr. Mchali, thank you so much for joining us on the Full Circle. We will definitely try to make as much noise as we can throughout the year. Have yourself a pleasant Monday. And bye for now. And still to come on the other side of headlines, we are going to talk to Advocate Vusi Kuzwayo, who is the chairperson of Umgeni Utukela Board, and getting to unpack all the issues that are related to Umgeni Utukela water. It's time for headlines. We'll be back.
Thank you. Good afternoon. In your headlines for SFM News, I'm Mphosa Tole. KwaZulu-Natal is the province with the highest HIV prevalence in the country. That's according to the latest statistics from the Human Sciences Research Council. The HSRC, in collaboration with its partners, has announced key findings from the 6th South African National HIV Prevalence, Incidence and Behaviour Survey. And in other news, 4 members of the same family have been murdered at their homestead in the Mfume area of Umbumbulu, south of Durban. Police say a 5th victim was injured. Amongst the deceased is an elderly couple, their 32-year-old son and 19-year-old grandson. And the accused in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial have been asked to behave following a scuffle between prison guards and some of the accused. The scuffle broke out after one of the guards ordered accused number 4 to sit properly during a short tea break at the trial, within a trial underway at the High Court in Pretoria. I'll have these and other stories at the top of the hour.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
And welcome back. Coming up, Umgeni Utukela water. So we are chatting to Advocate Vusi Kuzwayo, who is the chairperson of the Umgeni Utukela board. And following the completion of a merger between Umgeni and Mhlatuze water in a single entity, Umgeni Utukela, a new board to steer the ship, has finally been appointed, and we get to find out what exactly is top of the agenda, and maybe they do have timelines, what needs to be tackled urgently. And Advocate Kuzwayo is online joining us to have this conversation. Good afternoon and welcome to the Full Circle.
Yes, greetings to you and to the listeners at home, and thank you for having me on your show.
So starting off, firstly, would like to congratulate you and the entire leadership collective of Umgeni Utukela on your appointment to the board. Now, we would like you to just introduce yourself to our listeners and, what exactly you've been mandated to do.
Yes. I am Vusi Kuzwayo from here in Durban, but Umlazi in the main. Our mandate is a focused mandate in the sense that it's driven in terms of what the legislation really requires, as well as the shareholder compact, which the Department of Water and Sanitation issues to its boards. So, I think in the main, we all know what KZN looked like before the merger, and we now have one board that must serve all the borders of KwaZulu-Natal, our province. As you would then imagine, you would have those regions of the province which never had the same coverage in terms of the capacity that Umgeni Utukela now has.
And Shay, what are the expectations? What can we expect? Do you have any plans for the water utility that you've already put in place?
Yes, I think plans are there, and in the main, the objective is to ensure that the delivery of bulk water by Umgeni Utukela, I think, is extended to the new areas that were not serviced before by either by Mhlatuze from the upper North Coast areas and the other areas where Umgeni Tugala now can find a muscle, which is a financial muscle, in order to make I think a difference in our communities.
And we do know that the organization has had no leadership for quite a while, and leadership is very pivotal in this instance, and it needs form of stability. Is there a permanent plan to make sure that this stability will be maintained?
The answer is a big yes, because the question, I think, focuses, as one leg to the appointment of a permanent Chief Executive Officer. As a board, I can share with the listeners that on the 29th of November, we are having a board meeting, and one of the reports we will be receiving from the Remuneration and HR Committee is literally dealing with the position of what is predominantly referred as the CE, the Chief Executive Officer. So the board has been very much alive to that, as one of the major goals in ensuring that there is indeed a stability within the organization. As you would imagine, the first leg was to have a board. Now the board is there, so the board must now ensure that it creates a sound management within the staff complement. So the Chief Executive Officer, whoever he or she will be, will then be tasked with filling all the ancillary positions that follows from there. The CE becomes the first employee of the board.
So are there any regulatory risks or challenges that the board is closely monitoring? And given your submission earlier that clean and ethical governance will be the hallmark of this board's term of office? Like
most organizations, you start with a slate. For instance, we were releasing our 2022-2023 annual results and report, which were penned under the signature of the Auditor General, which then had found the entity and gave it an unqualified audit opinion. And as the process really, in terms of the statute, really, and how the AG processes these audits, you will always find matters of emphasis, matters of irregularities, all your wasteful expenditures. So, like this organization, there has been in the past been investigations which the Auditor General had commissioned through the President. So one report we've received on the 7th of November, which we are studying, and we would be reverting to the President with how we're going to implement that report. Then there are other investigations, which we call them, they relate to material irregularities, again, which the AG had escalated to the Presidency. So as of June this year, there are two contracts which are being investigated through the Special Investigating Unit.
And then, we know that state-owned entities have had a bit of a challenge where it comes to being, financial viable. How confident are you of Umgeni Tukela's financial position?
I must say there is a very positive comfort here, because as recently, really, the Umgeni Tukela finances, in the sense of when you look at the ratings, it's been found to be an AA+, which is a rating which was issued by Fitch Ratings, one of the big three rating agencies globally. So this tells us that we have a healthy balance book and an ability to service our debt. So if we were to go to a market to borrow, these are kind of sentiments that the market responds to. So where one is seated, we are with this positive rating, and we don't want to brag and say if you were to compare this rating to the government rating, you'll find a big difference. But we are an entity of government. So what it seeks to suggest is that there has been good, I think, safeguard of the funds within Umngeni Utubela. So us as a board, we just need to guard, protect, and then grow the benefits, the financial benefits that Umngeni Utubela generates for the public of our province.
Well, Advocate, we are going to have to leave it at this point. Thank you so much for joining us on the Full Circle. Advocate Vusikuzwayo, chairperson of the Umngeni Utukela board, chatting to us about Umngeni Utukela water and sanitation. And of course, they are the new board to tackle this new challenge. Thank you so much for joining us, and have yourself a pleasant afternoon.
November. It even starts with the word no. No reasonably priced holidays, no tickets to that thing your kids want to go to, nowhere without queues, and no flights anywhere worth going to. It's November. So, we are charging no fees for 6 months when you sign up for a 10x retirement product in November. No fees, no drama, just results. Speak to a retirement expert today. 10x your future. 10x is a licensed FSP. T's and C's apply.
Wow, finding out about my health has never been so easy. I just spoke to a nurse, and I also got to ask a doctor a question, and I didn't even have to leave my home. Want to download your COVID-19 vaccine certificate? The National Health Hotline nurses and agents can help on 0800 029 999. And you can also ask a doctor a health question on the Kiredi WhatsApp line on 060 019 0000. That's Kiredi on 060 019 0000.
Dressing up is a winning mentality.
If you look good, you do good.
You feel good too.
Big ups to Polo South Africa
for making the SABC Sport team look good during the Rugby World Cup France 2023. Class and style on another level.
Rolevua.
Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
SAFM. Prime time all day long. Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
And it is the Full Circle. And coming up next, talking about a symposium for Black and women-owned businesses during SMME month. And I'm such an advocate when it comes to SMMEs. It's quite exciting. You give birth to your business and then you want it to, to thrive. And then once you've given birth, you have to nurture. And it can be quite a challenge. And joining me in the studio, I've got Dorcas Onyango, Global Director of Programs at Shared Interest. Good to have you.
Thank you. Good to have you.
Thank you for making time. So let's talk about, Shared Interest hosted a symposium that happened this past week. That was the 23rd of November, exploring opportunities to enhance local capital markets through partial credit guarantees in Southern Africa. So the symposium was hosted at the Maslow Hotel in Sandton.
Correct.
How was it?
It was successful. It was well attended, and it was thought-provoking.
And what was the whole idea behind it? What was the vision behind it?
The vision behind it was to bring all the stakeholders supporting small businesses to talk about how we can unlock more local capital. As you've correctly said, small businesses in South Africa rely on local capital. They are contributing significantly to the economy, but they lack access to the financial resources that they need.
And looking at South Africa, for instance, 60% of the workforce is SMMEs, contributing 34% to the gross domestic product. That's the GDP. But however, there's 85% operating informally, and that's the good majority. That reminds me, there are guys who sell stuff right at the entrance of SABC. I was asking the other day, this guy said he makes 2,000 Rand every day. Profit, by the way. profit, which is quite interesting. But you are also working on something very interesting where you are going to be empowering SMMEs. How are you going to empower SMMEs?
Actually, shared interest has been at this game in South Africa for the last 29 years. And in those 29 years, we wanted to make sure that capital is in the hands of emerging black entrepreneurs, particularly women, because we understand that they're entrepreneurial, they're solving problems in the community, they're contributing to social impact, and as you've said, they're earning a profit. So they are playing a critical role. But what they lack to be able to fulfill their full potential is capital. What we do is we expand their access to capital by guaranteeing their loans, because they don't have access to the assets that they need to be able to qualify for traditional loans, which primarily are from banks, but sometimes from other lenders as well.
And when you inject this capital, what are we looking at? How does one qualify?
So what we do, we unlock the capital. There is capital locally from lenders, but the small businesses do not have assets, and many lenders need collateral because they have to secure the loans as well. It's somebody else's money that the bank is loaning. The bank must loan responsibly. So the bank wants to loan, the entrepreneur wants to borrow, but the entrepreneur is grappling with so many things. They don't have operational records. And so that asymmetry information leaves the bank with no option but to either increase interest rates or not give the loan. So the way we unlock is we guarantee that loan. We assure the lender, be it a bank or another organization, that if there's a default risk, we will come in. So we provide partial credit guarantees.
And in case maybe you're driving and you're listening to this conversation, maybe you want to share something, share an opinion, something that's going on. Maybe you just want to find out more information. Give us a call on 086 000 2032 or send us a voice note on 06 104 107. And I do have my guest in the studio. That's Dorcas Onyango, Global Director of Programs at Shared Interest, and a symposium for black and women-owned businesses. They had a symposium on the 23rd of November, and quite exciting times. Getting credit or getting an injection capital is quite a big challenge. So what is the process? How does one then, let's say I'm an SMME.
Yes.
Walk me through.
So you're an SMME. You're running a profitable business. You're contributing. You're creating jobs or many other things that SMEs are doing that are positive. You need to grow. You need to innovate. And you go to your bank or your lenders, because, and I talk about banks and lenders because not everybody borrows from a bank. There are private capital providers who are also lending to SMMEs. And you talk about your business plan, you present yourself, and you talk about how much you want to borrow. And you both come to the conclusion that there's an opportunity for you to borrow and to grow your business, but you don't have the assets that the bank also needs to secure themselves and to loan responsibly. At that point, you and the bank have agreed, we come in as shared interest, and we work with the bank to say, look, depending on the level of risk, we will cover you if there's a default, because we know that both parties are trying to do the right thing, but that information asymmetry, none of them can solve it on their own sometimes unless we come in and guarantee the loan. So we take out the need for the small business to present an asset for collateral and for the bank to demand that collateral. We de-risk the loan in so doing.
And just hypothetically, roughly, in amounts, what is like the minimum that one can request?
Look, small businesses are, especially in South Africa, there are so many. There are some who are borrowing 10,000 rand, there are some who are borrowing millions of rand, and they're all playing a critical role. So it will depend on what their need is. But typically, for us as shared interest, because we are looking at impact and not just return from the guarantees we give, we look at what might be considered small to medium. So we will look at anything from 100,000 rand, 50,000 rand, all the way to 20 million rand to guarantee them.
And for more information, where do we go?
Our website, sharedinterest.org, or you can email me, dorcas@sharedinterest.org.
Fantastic stuff. Dorcas Onyango with me in the studio. It is the Full Circle. And if you want more information, you can always drop us your voice note or just go to our WhatsApp and drop us a liner 0614104107 and we'll give you information. Or maybe you would like to share some insight a bit later on in the show, 086 000 2032. And this is really, really good news for small businesses. Anyone, any type of business, I would like to believe you support.
We guarantees play a critical role. Not only do we unlock capital, but we also focus capital in critical sectors of the economy. So we have priorities. In South Africa, agriculture is the backbone of this economy. So we prioritize those SMEs. Climate change is the biggest threat to all of us and to agriculture. So we also focus capital on climate change. Fintech, financial technology, is driving capital in the hands of those who already don't have. And they themselves are small businesses, so we're also prioritizing them. Affordable housing, very important for South Africa. So we are driving capital there by supporting lenders. And of course, women. And women's social enterprises will always be a priority for us in terms of social impact. So there are businesses out of those 5 areas and they're supported by other guarantee funds, but we have chosen that we want impact, not just return.
Thank you so much. Dorcas Onyango, Global Director of Programs at Shared Interest. And I've got a message, SABC Bill. So the Portfolio Committee on Communications and Digital Technologies invites interested individuals and stakeholders to submit written comments on the South African Broadcasting Corporation SOC Ltd bill. The bill seeks to repeal the Broadcasting Act 1999 to regulate the continued existence of the South African Broadcasting Corporation SOC Limited, to provide for its governance, to amend the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa Act 2000 and the Electronic Communications Act 2005 to provide for matters connected therein. Inquiries can be directed to the Portfolio Committee on Communications and Digital Technologies by emailing sabcbill@parliament.gov.za, directed to Hajira Sali. The closing date for written submissions is Friday, 15 December 2023 at 4:30. And of course, Kids Corner also still to come right here on the Full Circle.
Beyond the headline on SAFM.
The matter was struck off the roll. How has life been for you since that particular moment?
Grateful. When I look back, I asked myself the question, why was I arrested on the 27th of October 2022? I still can't answer that question. The court could not find a decent answer for that question. And then the NPA asked for 500,000 rand bail, restrained my movement, and they took my passport. They asked me to report to the police station.
Matela Koko, who is the former ESCOM executive there.
Beyond the headline with Aldrin Sampier, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Hello, my name is Buikhanso Tlaka and I am 12 years old. The only thing I get in trouble for when I'm at school or at home is when I misbehave. I am never scared of anyone when I get in trouble. The first thing I do when I get in trouble, I tell my parents.
My name is Asanda Chabalala. I'm 11 years old from Uganda. Nothing gets me in trouble at home or at school. I am mostly scared of my dad because my little brother never listens and gets shouted at by my dad. The first thing I do when I'm in trouble is I say sorry.
Hello, my name is Dembere Madam, 10 years old, I'm in grade 4. What mostly gets me in trouble at home is running up and down from one door to another. At school is actually nothing. I'm mostly scared of my mom when I realize that I've done something to get in trouble. I'm scared of that person because sometimes she's scary. When I get in trouble at home or at school, first thing I say is sorry.
Greetings to you all. My name is Lorraine Moyo. I am 11 years old and in grade 6. I get in trouble at school for talking in class a lot. I usually talk to my friend who sits next to me in maths. At home, I get in trouble for not doing my chores properly. For example, I get in trouble for not washing the dishes properly. At school, who I am mostly scared of when I do something wrong is my teacher, because he can say stand at the staff room if you talk, which is a reasonable punishment. At home, who I am most scared of is my mom, because she can tell me to go do the dishes again, or she will tell me to go do something again, because I would have not done that something properly. When I get in trouble at school and at home, I apologize to whoever I need to apologize to. Thank you for listening to me. Bye.
Good day, everyone. My name is Amunga Zamayana. Today I'm going to be talking about what mostly gets me in trouble. Well, what mostly gets me in trouble is the fact that I don't listen and tend to forget things. Like homework, cleaning my room, forgetting my books, and others. One person that I'm scared of when I get in trouble is my dad, because I know he's going to shout at me, which I find scary. The first thing I do when I get in trouble is to say sorry for what I did, even though sorry does not fix the problem. Thank you for listening. Bye for now. I hope you learned something new about me.
Good afternoon. My name and surname is Pego Chempembe, and I am 9 years old. Things that get me into trouble at home are not doing the chores like cleaning my room or not doing the dishes. Playing with my little brother sometimes always gets me into trouble. When we play silly games and he cries sometimes and reports me to my mom. At school, I get into trouble if I don't finish my work in time. Our teacher does not like that. I am mostly scared of getting into trouble with my dad because he shouts loud. When I get into trouble at home or at school, I am taught to apologize for my mistake. It's always scary being in trouble. Thank you.
Hi guys! Something that gets me in trouble most of the time is not doing my homework, and sometimes it's just because I'm on my phone for too long, and that's also another thing that gets me in trouble. And when I get in trouble, the person I'm most scared of is my mom. But both of my parents are very, very scary. I'm scared of my parents when I get in trouble because they're very strict and I don't want to get in trouble and I do not want to do things that will upset them. Something I always do after doing something wrong or even just getting in trouble is I apologize, because apologies are very, very important, and also being respectful about your apologies is very important. And I always watch my tone and how I speak to people, because you never know how someone else might be viewing or perceiving the situation. When you get in trouble, it's important to apologize and not hide away from the situation. And it's important to realize that you've done something wrong and confess to what you've done wrong.
The things that I get in trouble for most of the time at home or at school is, at home, I don't really clean my room as much as I'm supposed to. And at school, I don't really get in trouble because I'm someone who keeps to myself, so I don't really get into that much trouble at school. When I do get in trouble, and the person that I'm most afraid of is my mom, because I know that she will yell at me and try to correct me in certain places, because I know how strict she is and how she can come at certain things. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily scared of my mom, but I would say that I just know when to not cross the line and when to cross the line and do something that I'm told to do. The first thing I do after I get in trouble with my mom is try to correct the things that I did wrong, so that I know next time I won't do the same thing again, and that everything is better than it was before. Thank you.
Hello friends! Getting into trouble at home and at school can feel like navigating through a storm.
But fear not. There are ways to steer through like a captain of your own ship. When you're at home, communication is key. When trouble brews at home, talking openly with your family is like dropping anchor. Explain your side of the story, listen to theirs, and find a common ground. Apologize and learn. If you made a mistake, owning up to it is like adjusting your sails. Apologize sincerely. Show that you've learned from the situation and outline steps to avoid a repeat. Seek guidance. Asking for advice from a trusted family member is like getting navigation tips. They might share their experience and help you find better ways to handle similar situations in future. Now, when you're at school, talk to your teachers. If trouble arises at school, having an honest conversation with your teacher is like opening a dialogue. They are there to guide you, share your perspective. They might offer valuable insights or solutions. Take responsibility. If you're in the wrong, admitting is like setting a course correction. Acknowledging your mistake, accept any consequences, and show that you're committed to making amends. It's like being the captain of your actions. Improve and stay positive. Use the situation as a chance to improve. It's like adjusting your sails when the wind changes. Stay positive, show resilience, and demonstrate that challenges are opportunities for growth. In both settings, reflect on your actions. Reflect on your actions. Taking time to reflect on what happened is like checking your navigation instruments. Understanding why you got into trouble in the first place, and use the knowledge to make better decisions in the future. Learn from your mistakes. Troubles are like stormy seas, but each challenge is an opportunity to learn, adapt and grow from your experiences, making you better equipped to handle future situations. Remember, facing troubles is a part of life's journey. It's not about avoiding storms, but learning to navigate through them with resilience and wisdom.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
Independent and impartial. This is SAFM News.
The top stories at this hour. KZN still recording the highest HIV cases in South Africa, and a scuffle breaks out during the Meyiwa murder trial. Good afternoon. For SAFM News, I'm Bertha Charuma. KwaZulu-Natal is the province with the highest HIV prevalence in the country. That's according to the latest statistics from the Human Sciences Research Council. The HSRC, in collaboration with its partners, has announced key findings from the 6th South African National HIV Prevalence, Incidence and Behaviour Survey. Now, the country is known to have the world's largest HIV epidemic. HSRC Executive Director Kangalani Zuma says a total of 7.8 million people in the country were living with HIV in 2022.
The distribution of HIV prevalence in the country among those that are 15 years and above, we can see that the provinces such as KwaZulu-Natal, Free State, Eastern Cape and Mpumalanga still have the highest prevalence of HIV, ranging from 18.7 to 21.8. And then provinces in Northern Cape, Western Cape still have low HIV prevalence between 8.2 and 11.6. So that is the distribution of HIV in the country by province. KwaZulu-Natal is still leading on the prevalence of HIV.
In other news, 4 family members have been murdered at their homestead in the Mfume area of Umbumbulu, south of Durban. Police say a 5th victim was injured. Amongst the deceased is an elderly couple, their 32-year-old son and their 19-year-old grandson. KwaZulu-Natal police spokesperson Robert Nechuenda says they were attacked by 5 unknown people, and he says this is the second attack on this family.
We would not have the motive for a fact. But what we have gathered so far, investigating with the police, that there's been an ongoing family feud with some accusations labeled to some family members. That could have been the reason for the attack last year. This is the second incident in a space of a year. So that could suggest that there's a bigger motive behind. Maybe not the family feud like we are meant to believe, could be something else. But as the police, it's our job to dig down and find out what could be the real motive, because it looks like the assailants knew who they wanted.
The accused in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial at the High Court in Pretoria have been asked to behave following a scuffle between prison guards and some of the accused. Now, the scuffle broke out after one of the guards ordered accused number 4 to sit down properly during a short tea break at the trial within a trial underway at the High Court in Pretoria. This guard explains what exactly transpired.
I said, Nduli, you cannot sit like that. Then they howled at me. Suzokushaya thina, if usondela la. You can fight me if you want, but you are going to sit very well and proper. Accused number 3 was closer. I went down like I was kneeling, going forward. Accused number 4. Then I saw a blow coming on my way. The first one was accused number 2 and number 5. Number 4, I was trying to duck. Eventually, my police came close.
Now, the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts in the Northwest Provincial Legislature, Job Liso, says heads are going to roll as they seek answers about millions paid for the revamp of the Manyane Game Lodge, though no work has been done. The facility has been left vandalized even though millions were paid for its revamp. Liso says they will also be seeking answers during the oversight visit by the Minister of Tourism, Patricia de Lille, who's expected at the facility later today. And in other news, in efforts to boost tourism, Malaysia will grant visa-free entry to citizens of China and India for stays of up to 30 days starting on Friday. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim made the announcement last night during a speech at his People's Justice Party Congress. In a statement, Malaysia's Home Affairs Ministry says the visa exemptions will last until the 31st of December 2024. Other Asian countries have been taking similar measures. And in recapping the top story at this hour, KwaZulu-Natal is the province with the highest HIV prevalence in the country. That's according to the latest statistics from the Human Sciences Research Council. I'll have your headlines at 2:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide, leading the conversation.
Have you ever noticed how unique the rugby ball is?
You should check out Head High.
The rise of junior rugby stars Mana and Tai.
Vince is not just their stepfather, he's their coach.
Catch the brothers' dream of the black jersey, Head High, every Sunday at 9 p.m. live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com.
Rugby Drama Galore. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Don't miss out on the SAFM Playwriting Competition. To enter, visit safm.co.za. From the menu icon, select Competitions. Click on the SAFM Drama Playwriting Competition. Read the T's and C's of the competition. Check out the competition's Q&A. Fill in the entry form by clicking the link provided. Email your script to drama@safm.co.za. For further information, email drama@safm.co.za. Entries close on the 22nd of January 2024. SAFM, leading the conversation. You are listening to The Full Circle.
May satan di jor ya mom liye may satan di jor ya mom liye may satan di jor ya mom liye ni woy birma fumu yendu mayendu fayendo nane woy birma fumu yendu mayendu fayendo Mayandu fayendo nane. Oy birima. Mayandu fayendo nane. Buri sambalobe ya mom lile. Buri sambalobe ya mom lile. Buri sambalobe ya mom Samawaji jandula jamnane. Oy bima, fuyendo nane. Biram gambo, ngone machanyas, may machayeri. Samaya sino, tika bay kujadoki. Yayi borom baba, mi idiwoy birimay. Yung samawaji kendula jamnane.
That's Yusundo Birima. And this is the Full Circle. It's Bertha Charuma in for Bridget. And coming up on the show, still to come on the show, this second hour, we're going to be talking to Dr. Linda Meyer, Managing Director of the Independent Institute of Education's Rosebank College, Imposter Syndrome. How to stop it from derailing your career and life satisfaction. Also, the Food and Arts and Crafts Lifestyle Market, a platform for shopping and entrepreneurship, still to come, and preparing for workplace success with micro-credentials, also coming up on the show.
Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
Talking about, the imposter syndrome. It's a psychological phenomenon that involves feeling like a fraud, constantly waiting to be found out, despite evidence of your achievements and competence. And, it can affect anybody, literally, regardless of your profession, your education, your experience. For some strange reason, you have that little thing that tells you you are inadequate. So imposter syndrome can cause you to, doubt yourself, fear, failure, avoid challenges, undermining your own success and life satisfaction, literally. And you're living this life under a carpet and missing out on the good stuff. Joining me to find out what causes this particular feeling, I've got Dr. Linda Meyer, Managing Director of the Independent Institute of Education's Rosebank College. Good afternoon and welcome to the Full Circle.
Good afternoon, Bertha. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
This sounds so familiar. Every now and then I know I'm victim 101 of my own doing. What really happens? What triggers this?
So it really is a number of factors. And the first is self-doubt, that we can't believe the success that we've actually experienced in life. So we feel that, we're not worthy of the success. Other people are much better than us. And, they're on our level or they are below us. But the reality is that, often this is weighed by something that in our own lens is very negative and doesn't really speak to our true potential and what we have experienced legitimately in achieving our success.
And what are the signs? Are you able to detect that I think here I'm now lacking self-confidence? Are there certain signs that you can identify and tell yourself you need to snap out of it?
Absolutely. So the first thing that you'll notice is negative self-talk. So you'll speak to yourself and you'll say bad things about yourself. You'll say, I don't look great. I haven't studied hard enough. I can't believe I'm in this position. So really putting yourself down. And that is the first warning sign that you are now part of this imposter syndrome. The next thing is that you don't put your hand up when there's opportunities that present themselves. So your first go-to place is, I don't think I'll get the job. I don't think I'm worthy of this project. I don't think that they take me seriously. I don't think that I've studied enough. So all of those negative projections that you see specifically will then creep into the self-doubt. And your self-esteem. I mean, often when you go into these bouts of self-doubt, it will manifest itself in depressive episodes where you will have a lack of feeling that you are valid. You'll feel like you're a fraud, that you really have an imposter. You don't belong where you are. And this obviously affects people at the highest levels, whether they chairpersons of boards of directors, whether they are executives, it doesn't matter in what realm it is. It manifests itself, we know, in over 70% of adults. And these are all systems and processes of self-doubt that will bring itself to the forefront.
Opening up the lines, 086 000 2032. That's 086 000 2032. Maybe this is something you resonate with. Maybe you know someone whom you know is an absolutely perfect candidate for something, but for some strange reason they have a tendency just to sit in the back seat and not doing the right thing. You can also send us your WhatsApp voice note, or even just send us a WhatsApp on 0614104107, 0614104107. And talking to Dr. Linda Meyer, imposter syndrome, something that we see happening often. Now, Doc, can the environment be also a contributing factor?
Absolutely. So you could be in a toxic environment, or you could be in an environment where particular genders, if there's a female that has performed well, that is frowned upon. So it might very well be that the environment in which you find yourself is actually feeding into the self-doubt, not by anything based in fact, but just by this organizational culture that is perpetuating this particular challenge in the workplace. So certainly where people are not given or afforded adequate opportunities for development, if they're not given the chance, you'll see, that often particular people of particular races or particular genders are given particular chances, and that will then feed into this narrative of I'm not good enough. And it really is a false narrative, but we must realize that some people take this very seriously, and it affects them psychologically in the workplace.
And where there's a problem, there's always a solution.
Absolutely.
Do you have like a basic 101 solution to say, now, step one, this is what you do to overcome such a situation?
Absolutely. So the first thing is that you need to overcome this by really challenging these negative thoughts. So when this manifests itself, when it comes up and it says to you, you're not good enough, you don't deserve this promotion, you don't deserve this increase, that you take stock and you say to yourself, I am an excellent performer. You critically reflect and realistically on what it is that you've achieved. So often there's a hype. So there'll be a lot of things where you're in the limelight. And that is the worst time when people start criticizing themselves because they can't believe this exposure that they've received, and then that becomes very difficult for them. So make sure that when you have this negative self-talk that you're able to be critically reflexive and that you're able to be realistic about what it is that you achieved. The next thing is to really build a portfolio of your achievements. So it's almost like these craft books. I'm not quite, I don't remember the word now, but where you have photos and really a record of accomplishment of what it is that you have. So when you're in self-doubt, that you can go and open that portfolio up and you can go through all of your achievements and really where you have done these things that you're able to then reflect on them. The next thing is obviously to find a mentor, somebody that is honest, somebody that will not, lie to you, will tell you when you've done well, but will also openly tell you when you could have done things better or differently.
So that is also a very important mechanism as you mirror yourself in the workplace. And then seek support and feedback from confidants. And then the most important thing is lifelong learning. So we all know people that completed their degrees in the 1980s. They've never studied anything else, but the first thing they want to bring to the conversation is the degree they did 30 or 40 years ago. And so the issue is there's lots of free courses. We call them MOOCs, massive open courses that are available through HarvardX, edX, and the websites are edX, HarvardX, Coursera, and they have these wonderful 6-week free courses on anything you can imagine to ensure that your knowledge is current, because there's nothing as powerful as current knowledge when you're in the workplace and you're entering into discourses. When people are sitting with redundant knowledge bases, that is when a lot of the self-doubt will creep in. And obviously there's nothing that stands instead of experience. Experience is very, very important. So make sure that you keep your mind active, because, as they say, idle hands is really where the problem comes. So make sure your mind is actively engaged, that you participate in support groups for professional people, where you've got an avenue and a vehicle to speak about these things that you're feeling as an imposter. But really reflect on it and make sure that you don't rob yourself of this opportunity to become and to see yourself for the value that you bring to the party.
Dr. Linda Meyer, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, there's something I want to ask that has to do, and you highlighted, when you come from that era, maybe the 80s, the 90s, and you're still stuck in that bubble, and it's very difficult because of disruption that has happened. Social media came, technology changed so drastically in the past 10 to 20 years. I would like to just find out, maybe help a lot of people out there who are struggling. But let's take a small break. We'll be back.
Ford is turning 100, and there's never been a better time to buy a brand new Ford. We're giving away 100 vouchers worth an amazing 50,000 Rand each, and the sensational grand prize of us paying for one lucky winner's Ford. It's the celebration of the century. Visit a Ford dealer, buy a new Ford, and win. T&Cs apply.
The beauty, power, elegance and speed of horse racing.
The passion at the heart of horse racing diligence.
Where these magnificent creatures and their skilled jockeys compete for glory.
Racing today.
Catch it live on Mondays to Fridays on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com.
#Horses of Great Character. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Conversations that you connect with and react to. SAFM. Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
And it is the Full Circle leading the conversation. And if you'd like to participate, you can give us a call on 086 0002032 or send us a voice note on 0614104107. And I've got Dr. Linda Meyer, Managing Director of the Independent Institute of Education's Rosebank College. And we are talking about imposter syndrome, how to stop it from derailing your career and your life satisfaction. And this happens to the best of us. It can happen to anyone. Honestly, you can have 3 PhDs, but for some bizarre reason, you just don't feel you are adequate enough. Now, before we took the break, I wanted to find out from you, Doc. A lot of people that come from, that era where technology just came and disrupted a whole lot of things. I know you did highlight some courses that you can take, but how do we even get to that point? Because I know there is a myriad of them out there who feel as though, oh my goodness, this technology is just too intimidating.
Yes, and you're quite correct. It is, as the times change, if we don't keep this knowledge currency, we are going to feel that. We're going to feel that young people are taking over our jobs. We're going to feel threatened. So we have to stay current. If we look at, for example, AI, ChatGPT, all of these things that are great tools in the workplace, I've seen many people being adverse to it, like just shying away from it, not wanting to know anything about it. But the benefits that it brings to them, drafting simple letters simple administrative tasks that's taken care within seconds by these vehicles. We need to keep abreast of these developments. Now, there's these courses that we spoke about, and don't underestimate that technology has really been impactful on our lives, as we all know. So to make sure that we do these courses, that we can do Excel, that we know how to work PowerPoint properly, and even if you just have a few minutes going onto YouTube and watching a video about anything that makes you uncomfortable is the first step in starting to address this. This Harvard X and Coursera and EDX, those are the websites. They are programs by the top universities in the world. And I'm talking about Harvard. I'm talking about MIT, about Wits University. So you can go and do something on project management. Go and learn a language. Go and learn about, you don't have to become a coder. The power is in understanding what is happening in our world, how our world is changing, so that you just feel that you are comfortable enough, so that you don't feel that you are second best, or that you can't speak with authority on particular issues. And you're quite right. I've seen many people struggle with this in the workplace and in the professional environment. Simple things like when the computers came, when we still had dial-up, and moving into all of these things, being able to be proficient in Excel, being able to do databases, all of these things are important, and I heard that later on your show you'll be speaking about micro-credentialing, and these things are becoming increasingly more important for skills currency, and making sure that you are confident in the workplace, and that you don't feel that you are that your place is not being valued and you being left behind.
Now, in the past, there was this whole ideology. It's not even an ideology. We always used to have mentors readily available. So you walk into a workplace, you are introduced to a position. There's somebody who has walked through that path, and they are now maybe the CEO or CFO, and they walk you through. And it's something that we don't experience anymore, which is almost like a physical experience. I mean, where we are now with all this disruption. So it could be a 25-year-old who happens to be your boss, and you are 45. How do you get yourself to navigate?
So there are two important things that you raise. The first is the organizational culture and how we assimilate people into the workplace, and how we make sure that they are supported. And this mentorship program that we had, you're right, in many organizations that has unfortunately fallen away. But what is important is that you find a mentor, and it doesn't have to be in your workplace, somebody that you respect, somebody that has been successful, somebody aspires to where you want to end up in life. Make sure that you make those contacts. The second thing is around when your boss is younger than you, they're tech savvy, they're coming in with a different energy, and we then feel displaced. We feel like, how is this person our boss when we have got 20 years more experience? But when we go and look at their qualifications, they've often finished an MBA, they're bright, they're energetic, and that should not detract from us, because if that is our dream, to be in that management role, then we need to make sure that we go and study those things so that we can compete on an equal footing. It's very difficult as we get older in the workplace to adjust to the environment and to the challenges that we are faced with, because let's face it, when we get older, we become less tolerant of these things. So it's to be mindful about how we speak to people, always be respectful, but you can only do something about yourself. You cannot necessarily influence to a great extent what is happening in your work environment or in your organization, but you need to take positive steps to ensure that you improve your rates of success and possibility of promotions, etc., in your own journey and your own destiny.
This has been so insightful, Dr. Meyer. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on The Full Circle. I think we just need to learn a thing or two and just keep on learning and never feel too old. Always keep that young spirit in you, otherwise you'll be left behind. Thank you so much for joining us, and have yourself a pleasant afternoon. That's Dr. Linda Meyer, Managing Director of the Independent Institute of Education's Rosebank College. And we're talking about imposter syndrome, how to stop it from derailing your career and life satisfaction. And I like, some pointers where you can start. And way forward is, you need to cheerlead yourself. Keep a record of your accomplishments. And if you're thinking that you're becoming extinct, maybe it's about time you resuscitate yourself, shake off the dust, go to a college, do a short course online, wherever, speak to a mentor. And a mentor age is just a number. You could have someone younger than you who's just so bright, so intelligent, and so forthcoming, and so forward thinking. Just engage those young people. I mean, look at people that are billionaires these days. I mean, 35, 45. And you could be in your 60s and thinking it's the end of the world. It doesn't have to end that way. Adopt a growth mindset. And if you live with the naysayers, I always say, leave them at the stop sign. Negativity just drags you. So if anyone is too negative about your thinking and where you want to be, just leave them at the stop sign. Anyway, let's go to the news. It's 2:30.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. Leading the conversation.
Thanks. Good afternoon. For SAFM News, I'm Mposa Tole. In your headlines, the Mangaung Metro Municipality and Vaal Central Water say they're working around the clock to ensure full water restoration around Bloemfontein, Botshabelo and Tabanchu in the Free State. It follows the prolonged water interruptions that the municipality has been experiencing since last week. In other news, KwaZulu-Natal is the province with the highest HIV prevalence in the country. That's according to the latest statistics from the Human Sciences Research Council. The HSRC, in collaboration with its partners, has announced key findings from the 6th South African National HIV Prevalence Incidence and Behaviour Survey. And a 31-year-old man has been burnt to death in a mob justice incident in a village outside Louis Trichardt in Limpopo. Police say the man was accused of robbing people of their cell phones and other belongings. I'll have these and other stories at the top of the hour.
Across South Africa, online and on radio. SAFM, let's talk. At Bertha Charuma 1 on Twitter.
And it is X space now. You see how technology just changes. Overnight you wake up, it's something else. Anyway, coming up on the show, the Food, Arts and Crafts Lifestyle Market, a platform for shopping and entrepreneurship. And we're going to be chatting to Wongakazi Majola, founder, Impactful Initiatives, coming up next.
Here, there, and everywhere. SAFM 106.6 FM in Mangaung.
So the countdown has begun. And we're not just talking about the holidays, getting ready for an event that is not just about shopping. It's about building communities, nurturing dreams. Joining us as the Food, Arts and Crafts Lifestyle Market on the 2nd and 3rd of December 2023 in the heart of Johannesburg at James and Ethel Gray Park. That's in Melrose. And chatting to us about it, I've got Wongakazi Majola, founder, Impactful Initiatives. Good afternoon and welcome to the Full Circle.
Good afternoon and good afternoon to your listeners as well.
Well, it is the silly season, exciting moments, exciting times. We're tired, we want to shop, we want to have fun, we want to relax, all in one. Let's talk about, this project that's coming up, or the market that's coming up on the 2nd and the 3rd of December. What can we expect?
As you are saying, we want to shop, we want to relax, but there are people that are supposed to make money so that they can also shop later on in December and are able to relax as well. So we've got a market on the 2nd and 3rd at the James and Ethel Park. And the rationale behind the...
I think something is happening. Something is happening with the line here.
Okay, let's move a bit. The rationale behind the market is that we are creating access to markets for enterprises, whether they are coming in the northern suburbs, whether they are coming from the townships. We want the enterprises to be able to learn from each other. So impactful initiatives is all about SMME development and focusing on access to markets, amongst other things.
And I know that, as South Africans, we really are struggling. We're grappling with the way the economy has gone. And you just highlighted SMMEs. We had a conversation earlier, small businesses. So how then does one find themselves? How do they become part of this? What is the process?
The process is for the enterprises to register on our website, which is impactfulinitiatives.co.za, or to go to our Instagram page, Fake Lifestyle Market, or they can even call us because there are contact details on our website. But for us, we also scout for enterprises. We go to different markets as well. We look specifically for the ones that are at a micro level, because we want to bring them in. We want to ensure that they are able to learn from other entities. And with impactful initiatives, we also offer training in between the markets. So we do some gap analysis, and we say maybe you can also partake in one of our trainings so that you are able to grow and you are able to prosper and sell in other markets as well.
And to join the training, when you conduct it at the market, does one have to pay a fee? Is it a long process, or is it something that you can do within a few hours, or it's the kind of a tutorial that will have to take maybe 2 or 3 days or so?
So what we normally do, we would have the markets as usual, and then from those vendors that have attended the market, we will offer a business training session, which is separate from the normal market. So they would come, sell in the market, and then there later on, we are able to provide them with some training. Some would take 1 day, others were a 2-day type of training.
And this particular one that you're hosting on the 2nd and the 3rd, is it the only one, or you have others that you do maybe during the year?
The December one will be our 3rd market. We started this initiative late last year. Our first market was in December last year, followed by another market in February this year. And then in between February and now, we had some training sessions for the enterprises. So the one that's taking place in December would be our 3rd market, and we'll be celebrating a year in existence. And we feel that we have touched at least, I think, for the 2 previous markets, about 50 enterprises that were able to showcase their products in our market.
And when you host these markets, do you have a specification to say your product must be proudly South African, or it's any product, whatever it is that you're into?
We focus on food, arts and crafts, because we believe that most people in our country are able to produce things within the food, arts and craft space. So we prefer people that are able to do things for themselves. Then those people should be given an opportunity to sell and make money, and those people should be given an opportunity to grow their businesses. Hence, we are also offering training. And in terms of our model is more focused on SMME development. So in terms of even the vendor fee stores, we charge what we call a commitment fee, which is not more than 1,000 rand over the 2-day period. And we also tell the enterprises that our model is a bit different in terms of their sales. We don't charge any commission on sales. The money that they make, it's the money that they can use for themselves and also to grow their businesses.
And lastly, if someone is listening to you and I, 'cause going basic is always the best way to do it. So here you are, maybe hypothetically, you do chilies. So you join the market, you pay your fee. So you get a table, or you get your stand, whatever is almost like an exhibition kind of a setup. You get a stand, and Do you have a database later on to say, we've had this girl, she came with her chilies last year, and maybe she has potential, and maybe if she doesn't have 1,000 rand, what then happens? But there's serious potential there.
Oh, okay. In terms of our model, even with the previous markets, we've had some enterprises that could not pay what we call a commitment fee, and we had allowed them to come to our market. We said to them, as long as you're going to make sure that you are able on those particular days to showcase and to sell your products. And within impactful initiatives, we understand the burden of having gazebos and infrastructure that is required to set up in the market. Where we are able to assist, we assist them with some form of displays or chairs or tables, but we all provide our entities with the gazebos or tents for the market. So in terms of infrastructure, we try and alleviate that burden for them as well.
And where can we find more information?
More information is on the website, impactfulinitiatives.co.za, and it's also on our Instagram page. But for us, what is important is that be proud of your product, that this is what I'm able to create. We understand that you might not have access to markets or access to proper funds. We are able to look into your space or whatever that you are doing, and we're able to assist you where we can, so that at least you can make some form of living out of the business that you have.
Wangakazi, thank you so much for joining us on The Full Circle, and have yourself a good day. And bye for now.
Thank you so much.
Wangakazi Majola, founder, Impactful Initiatives, the Food, Arts and Crafts Lifestyle Market, a platform for shopping and entrepreneurship. Well, coming up next, we get to unpack what's coming up in Aldrin Pierce's show, and he's here to share some insight.
Don't miss out on the SAFM Playwriting Competition. To enter, visit safm.co.za. From the menu icon, select Competitions. Click on the SAFM Drama Playwriting Competition. Read the T's and C's of the competition. Check out the competition's Q&A. Fill in the entry form by clicking the link provided. Email your script to drama@safm.co.za. For further information, email drama@safm.co.za. Entries close on the 22nd of January 2024. SAFM, leading the conversation.
If you're active on social media and love SAFM, we hope you'll take a moment to like or follow our SAFM page on Facebook and Twitter. These are the best places to find all the guest information, conversations, and stories you love from your favorite presenters, along with regular updates from SABC News. And don't forget, you can send your questions to feedback@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversation.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
And it is The Full Circle. Bertha in for Bridget, and Aldrin is in the studio. So what can we expect?
Good afternoon. So coming up on the show this afternoon, we're going to start off the show with an interview with the spokesperson for the Israeli Defense Force. Today is the last day of that 4-day truce that was negotiated by Qatar, but there is a possibility of a further extension. The Israeli government is saying that they'd be willing to extend the truce for an additional day, and that is in exchange for 10 Israeli hostages, or Israelites. Do they call them Israelites? No. Israelites is a biblical term, right?
Just say Israel, I suppose.
No, isn't it like a biblical term? But Israelis, and Israelis. That's it. Thank you. Whew. Yeah, I was like, Israelites, is that the one? No, it's not Israelites, Israelis. So in exchange for 10 Israelis, they will extend the truce for an extra day. So we'll be speaking to the spokesperson of the Israel Defense Force, who will be joining us just after 3 o'clock. And then also on the show this afternoon, we look at the concerns that have been raised about the financial status of Buffalo City. And now they've said that they've also realized that there has been an increase in the overtime that is being billed by the city staff. So they're now standing at 35.4 million. So that's an average of around 12 million. They said 11 million somewhere there that they're experiencing every month. So that conversation is coming up a bit later on. And then the last one that we'll also be looking into this afternoon, a beautiful story, speaking to Megan Friedman, Mighty Mac's mother, and this is following a successful stem cell transplant that he underwent, and they said that they've reached 100% donor status. So that's an incredible story that we're going to be doing at 4:45.
Nice one. That's going to be quite interesting. But with this truce,
Yeah.
why do they keep on negotiating? Can they just end this thing?
And it's been going on since 1948, 1956 as well. There was a United Nations resolution, but it still goes on. Is a two-state solution possible? And that is what many people are fighting for and hoping for.
Well, I'll be listening to Beyond the Headline. I may just call in. Because
Please do.
I'm very interested
Please
to find
do.
out. I'm very interested to find out. That's Aldrin and what you can expect in Beyond the Headline. So still to come, preparing for workplace success with micro credentials.
It's in the weight it carries. So much, yet so very little. So desperately sought, yet so minimal the search. In places run dry and those in flood. In things that rip, yet keep us whole. In the fractured, where cures await. In planets cupped in little palms. In minds young and aflame. In the reach of those dare not reach. In things pulled down, stretching for sky. In steps with purpose, with no direction. In possibilities, dancing just for you. In familiar yearnings, yearning for familiarity. In eyes kept forever on you, so nothing is strange. Yes, it's in hope. Hope in light pulled near and sent afar. Yes, hope from us to you. SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Dressing up is a winning mentality.
If you look good, you do good.
You feel good too.
Big ups to Polo South Africa
for making the SABC Sport team look good during the Rugby World Cup France 2023. Class and style on another level.
Rolez-vous.
Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
SAFM has signed a code of conduct that is enforced by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Under the code, we are committed to giving news that is accurate, comment that is fair, and programming that is not harmful, does not amount to hate speech, or contain violence or explicit sex. If you think we are not living up to that code, then you can inform the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. Direct any complaints in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission of South Africa. PO Box 142365. Craig Hall 2024. Fax to 011-326-3198 or an email to bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more information, please visit www.bccsa.co.za. Bertha Charuma on SAFM.
It is the full circle, and in South Africa's changing higher education system, innovation, adaptability are very, very important, and small learning programs called micro-credentials have become a powerful way to help students navigate the world of work. So these micro-credentials are bite-sized learning opportunities that empower students to rapidly enhance their skills and knowledge in areas like problem solving, project management, data analysis, which are crucial assets in the workplace. And joining me online, I've got Atalisha Harilal, Head of Student Recruitment and Marketing at Stadio. Good afternoon and welcome to the Full Circle.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Rapidly changing, the work environment. So what are micro-credentials and why is it important for students to have them?
So I think one of the main important reasons we need to have them is they showcase the sort of skills and knowledge that students have gained during the course of their studies outside of their actual module. So we're not saying here's an accounting graduate who really understands the principles of the accounting system. We're saying, here's a great graduate who has understanding of the accounting system, but additionally, they understand things like problem solving. They understand project management. They can conduct data analysis, and they've proven this through the various micro-credentials or snackable learning that's available to them throughout their academic journey.
And how do these micro-credentials encourage skills like problem solving, project management, data analysis, crucial for the workplace? How are they crucial?
So micro-credentials represent sort of a paradigm shift in education. What we say is that when you get to the world of work, what you need is what is rather thought of as soft skills. So it's not only the core knowledge of the area of your job, but rather how to negotiate the world of work and be able to take care of corporate communications, handle your own productivity, bring skills on report writing, data consumption to the table. So at the end of each sort of Stadio Stripe or micro-credential program, all students would have been able to demonstrate the relevant skills. So for example, it's not just saying, I worked on a computer, but rather demonstrated improved technological skills, showing that they have these soft skills that are crucial to making them succeed in the world of work, but also making the corporates in which they find jobs that much more happier with their presence in the workforce, because here's an individual who doesn't just bring their core knowledge, but also brings all of the soft skills and interpersonal capabilities the world of work is looking for.
And, I don't know, for some strange reason, I think technology somehow has made us kind of like lose that aspect of soft skills. But I suppose, there are always means and ways to incorporate them. And tell me, how do micro-credentials contribute to fulfilling both student and labor market needs? How do they facilitate a more seamless transition from higher education to employment?
Basically, it's bridging the skills gap between higher education and employment. We want to look for improved ways for the corporate world to meet the student and job market trends and be able to get someone who's not just a great graduate, but also going to be a great employee. And what we do with these sort of micro-credentials is there's precise skills verification. So now a potential employer doesn't have to get on the phone to a lecturer or a peer to say, listen, how was this person? By looking at the multiple different micro-credentials they may have, there's a reliable method for an employer not just to confirm qualification, but also to confirm competencies. And this means it will empower more businesses to give graduates an opportunity in the world of work rather than the same old, we want a degree and 5 years experience.
And a lot of us, there's just been a one way of having the right credentials for a certain position, where you're expected. Have a degree, it's 3 years, it's 4 years, have a master's, then have a PhD, and disruption. Education disruption has just come with so many complicated issues. So according to the World Economic Forum, Future Jobs reported that 50% of all employees will need reskilling by 2025. And that could be quite a big population. So for somebody, let's say, who is not as young from what you offer, do you have, a space for people that are, maybe I should call it adult education, for lack of a better word?
Absolutely, we do. We have, Stadio is 80% distance learning and adult learners who study with us precisely because they are reskilling, taking a late life career change, or they upskilling themselves to meet the demands of the current world of work. And I think more and more South Africans are seeing the value in sort of how do they get themselves ready for the world of work now, but also with an eye towards the future of their changing role, but also recognizing if I want to climb the corporate ladder, if I want to move to that corner office, then I'm going to need to upskill myself and remain current with what knowledge is happening in the world of work. I'm also going to have to learn the soft skills of project management, communication, the critical thinking skill to be able to find the knowledge you need online in order to do the next task that is in front of you. And I think that kind of marks those who are able to keep up with the demands of a largely dynamic, future-focused world of work, and those who will find themselves becoming obsolete.
And if someone is listening to you and I, how do they navigate? Where do they find you?
Easiest and best source of information is to jump onto the Stadio website. It's www.stadio.ac.za, and they'll find all the information they need about all the various programs we offer.
And I was just looking at some of the pointers that you also gave us just before we end our conversation, where you highlighted, where it's actually so important to manage on time for increased productivity. Back in the day, it was never really a big thing. You walk in and they tell you how to do it. Can you just give us maybe a few so that people really grasp our conversation?
You see, I think it's the difference between the old way of working and the new way of working. And what COVID had done is it forced us to very quickly realize that we need people to be able to self-manage for productivity rather than be clock watching, because effectively they were not in the office in front of us. We couldn't clock watch them. So we want to foster the kind of work culture that is built around productivity rather than micromanagement. And it's so key for us as employed individuals, and I say us because, I'm also in the world of work, and I have 8 tasks that I need to accomplish in the day. Nobody is going to come around to say, okay, from 8 to 9 you need to do this, but the expectation is by the end of the workday, the 8 tasks are done. So therefore, it's up to me to understand how to tier my activities, how to prioritize them, in some cases, how to allocate them to others who are there to support me. And this kind of time management is a key skill for success, not only in the corporate world, but in the public sector as well, that empowers people to succeed in the world of work. And it's not a skill taught in any module within the degree, but it is, one of the soft skills that will make sure you succeed. So it's so important to be able to manage your own productivity, understand your output, understand which tasks you want to do. And, just a personal bit of advice is, how do you tackle the most difficult task first, eat your frog, and then move on to the things you really enjoy doing? So it's really a key skill that we've learned from the COVID environment, where we couldn't micromanage human beings who were working from work, and we had to rely on their self-government and productivity management skills.
Well, Atalisha Harilal, thank you for joining us on The Full Circle. It's been a pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you.
But for now, that's Atalisha Harilal, Head of Student Recruitment and Marketing at Stadio. Well, I suppose that wraps up The Full Circle. Thanks to Zanele, as well as Ntabiseng and Katu on tech. It's really been quite an experience. Hopefully we'll meet again soon.
Zingizithela Jalo maya shona malanga nethemba uzobuya. Ngathi ngiyazikhohlisa nasiphela insuku zedlula. Thanda sami ngiyakhumbula. Uyaphela ngikulingishe. It's like I'm in a paradise. Oh, but now we're with
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide. Independent and impartial.